Well, welcome back. I'm working on this motor from the yellow Victrola. You may remember the yellow Victrola. I think it was a couple of videos back. I got it in from someone who wants it restored, and I remembered. It's interesting. I remembered seeing something like this years ago. Maybe it was this one. Who knows? But I remember on the internet seeing this yellow Victrola and a red one, and it's interesting that somebody did this. I still don't think he painted it yellow in his garage. I have no idea really. I don't know if a retailer did this. No clue. But it's in for restoration, and I'm working on the motor now, and that's what I want to talk about. How I rebuild motors, Victrola motors. I watched, as I was new doing this, I watched some great guys on the internet. Dyslexic genius Brett Hurt, great man. And Victrola collector on the internet, and there's a lot of good people. So I'm going to offer my suggestion, share a little bit with those of you that are very experienced, but primarily those of you that might be pretty new at this. So what I do when I rebuild the motors, I start with the spring barrel. Obviously everything has to be cleaned completely and spotless, everything. I take these motors apart, take the springs out, and I soak them in gasoline outside, and they are really clean. Rub them down with steel wool if I have to. So they come out clean. Then I put them in a spring barrel. The springs dry. This is a spring barrel off an orthophonic. I'm using it only as an example. I put the springs in dry. So down in the bottom, you can imagine there's one spring, and it's maybe an inch thick or so, and it's tight in against that outside wall of the spring barrel. Then I use some oil. The reason I'm using this, I'll tell you in a minute. This is an old oil can with Mobil 1 synthetic oil, 5W30. The reason I'm using it is I use it in my car. So I run a bead of oil around the top of the outside edge of the spring. Fairly liberally, but not too much. And if you watch it, you'll see that oil soaks down in between the leaves of the spring. And it protects against metal, the outside edge of this can. Then I use 3 tablespoons, thereabouts, of Super Lube grease. Now I could use Super Lube oil also instead of Mobil 1, but I don't happen to have any, so I had to use Mobil 1 with this. And then, the dividing plate, the second spring, the same thing. And as I was thinking about protecting metal against metal, I thought, all right, what do I do with the rest of the motor as I'm putting it together? We've got the ratchet paw, the ratchet gears, the main gear here, the governor drive gears. What do we do? Over the years, I've tried to keep it quiet. I've tried to lubricate with oil, with grease, lots of different products, lots of suggestions from the guys online. But there always seems to be that little clickety-clackety sound that all Victrola motors have. It's nature of the beast. It's perfectly okay. Nature of the beast. I just want to be sure that it's running smoothly and properly. So I thought to myself, what about metal against metal? What protects metal against metal? Because it's a motor. And I realized there's a product called Ultra Slick. I guess you can see it in the camera. I don't have a cameraman, so I'm doing this on my own. It's a product called Ultra Slick. It's red, it's very sticky, it's very slippery, and it's used in the assembly of gasoline engines and diesel engines, lawnmower engines, 400 horsepower Corvette engines. As those parts come together, brand new pistons and rings or rebuilt cylinders, whatever, this stuff is spread liberally over those parts. And as the pistons and crankshaft go in, they're protected against metal against metal when that gasoline engine is first started up, so that there's no damage to the metal pieces before the oil comes from that oil pan up into the motor itself. So I asked myself, how could that be used on a Victrola motor? Well, it can, and I did. The directions of the product say use it liberally, which I did. I put it on the ratchet paw, ratchet gears, everywhere. I used it on the governor gear, the governor drive gear, this drive gear, the main gear around the spring barrel. And I did it pretty liberally. So there was a lot of red on it, a lot of red sticky stuff. And with any assembly of a Victrola motor, whether you're using Ultra Slick or another product, when you're cranking it up, you got to crank it up slowly, maybe 10 turns, then 20, 25, 30. You crank it eventually, you crank it all the way up, and then you let it run down. Each time you let it run all the way down. You experienced guys, you know this, but the newbies, maybe you don't. So I thought I'd fill you in on it. And I noticed a side benefit, or an additional benefit. This product, being very sticky, it stays where you put it. And it does its job where you put it. Now, over the 20, 25, 30 times I've cranked this up all the way and let it run down, that Ultra Slick spreads around all the parts. There's a little extra that spills out, but you wipe it off with a paper towel. And the benefit here, once I get it going, you'll see, you'll hear. It is absolutely quiet. This was not quiet when I first started it up with regular oil on it. When I decided to use this, it was an experiment. And I think my experiment has turned out to be successful. It is exceptionally quiet. I've done a number of motors for people, and I'm a collector as well. I've got 15 of these in my house. I drive my wife nuts. Well, she likes them too. But anyway, I've done a lot of motors. This is the first time I've used this product, and this is the first time I've started a motor that's absolutely silent. Now, I'm an old man. I'm 75 years old. My ears aren't perfect, so maybe there's something going on that I can't hear. But I'm going to pick up the camera, move it closer so that you can see exactly what's going on, and you can hear it if there's a sound. The camera should pick up the sound. And that's where the sound usually comes from, those drive gear, the clicketing, clacketing. And I'll move the camera over here so you can see more easily how I also did the ratchet paw. And you can see it's a little bit red, but that Ultra Slick spreads out evenly. It stays a little shiny, doesn't go anywhere. I imagine after enough time it'll wear off. I don't know, but we'll find out over time. So it's a product that I may continue to use in the future. Still very quiet, running very smooth. Anyway, that's all I have to offer on this motor. For those of you out there that have any questions, you can ask through the comment section of YouTube, or feel free to email me at ArizonaVictrolaWorkshop@CenturyLink.net. That's Arizona Victrola Workshop at CenturyLink.net. My name is Neil, and feel free to contact me. I also do work for people in my area. I'm located in the greater Phoenix area, specifically Chandler, Gilbert Mesa, and what we call the East Valley of Phoenix. And I'm happy to answer questions or help you out. I've helped a number of people in the area. I don't charge a lot. And I think the one fellow I was very gratified to help was I've got the video on YouTube of the 1920 VV11 that was painted in the Oriental, the Japanese style, and the owner's grandmother bought it new in New York City from a Wurlitzer dealer. Beautiful machine. Anyway, go back and look at that one. That's a pretty good video, series of videos. Anyway, feel free to contact me if I can be of help. And thank you very much for watching. I hope this video has helped someone. Take care. Bye-bye.